Assalamu alaikum students, I am your course instructor Muhammad Kashif and the course name is Software Requirement and Specification. In previous lecture we have covered different topics related to the use cases, and we have covered use case templates, and in which we have seen that we have a simple method to represent our use cases. We have column method, we have primary actors, we have secondary actors, and obviously we have seen the process of development of use cases, and we explore an example of ATM machine, and we discuss about the ATM machine, how we can represent the interaction of an actor with the software application, how an actor can interact with the ATM machines. So there are multiple situations or multiple scenarios that help an actor or a stakeholder to make communication with ATM machines. So and we have seen that we have multiple actors, we have multiple the stakeholders who have different roles and responsibilities, and based on those roles and responsibilities we try to build the functional requirements, and those functional requirements can be represented in the form of use cases. And use case is a modeling technique, as a representation, a graphical representation of interaction between a software application and a user, right? So in today's lecture we are going to explore further more examples in which we try to build the use cases, and in these examples we try to include and extend a relationship, how these relationships will work in a use case diagram. And obviously we will discuss the ATM machine, and we will explore the university registration process or the application, how a student can register their courses in a university by using the software application. So students, we have a use case development example, and we are considering an ATM machine, ATM system for the example. So obviously we need to identify the use cases, and obviously when we talk about the use cases, that means we are talking about the interaction of a user with the software application. So here we have to develop a brief description in narrative form, and that could be a description, that could be the explanation of your interaction with the software application. For example, use case withdraw cash, how you can withdraw the cash, how you can deposit the cash, how you can choose multiple options to withdraw the cash from the ATM machine. So these are all type of descriptions of particular use case, or you can say the functional requirement. So the customer identifies herself to the system, then selects the cash withdrawal operation, and the system asks for the amount to withdraw. The customer specifies the amount, the system provides the requested amount, the customer takes the amount and leaves. So you can see here we are explaining, we describe the problem in the form of paragraph, and you can see here we have multiple functional requirements, and we need to build these requirements, or we need to represent these requirements in the form of list, right? So obviously the next step would be identify the preconditions. The preconditions of use case withdraw cash would be system is in operation and cash is available. Obviously we talk about the preconditions, and each functional requirement has a precondition, right? And preconditions should be met, right? And here if we want to withdraw the cash, that means an ATM machine should have a cache, right? If cache does not exist in the ATM machine, then you won't be able to make that transaction possible, right? So a system should be in a working order, and system must has a cache. If both the conditions are not satisfying, that means a customer, a stakeholder, a user cannot communicate with the software application. So here we need to define primary scenario, happy day story where everything goes fine. Definition, if we talk about the secondary scenarios, that means we are talking about the alternative ways or exceptions. A method for finding secondary scenarios is to go through the primary scenarios and ask, is there some other action that can be taken at this point? Alternative scenarios or situation, is there something that could go wrong at this point? Exception scenario, is there some behavior that could happen at any time? This is again a situation where we should provide an alternative solution or an alternative way to handle with the system. So example use case, withdraw cash, you can see here incorrect identification could be an action, not enough cash available, a customer forgets card in card reader, incorrect amount entered, or customer forgets cash in dispensers. So you can see here we have different situations, we have different the actions, or you can say events that can be occur while a user wants to communicate with your application. So we need to think about all these points, we need to think about all these events that can be occur, that can be pop up while we are trying to connect, we are trying to withdraw the cash from the ATM machine. So here we have an example, or you can say the representation of a use case, the structure use case diagram, in which we are identifying the commonalities and specify included the use cases, and we are identifying the variants and specify extended use cases. And as I told you, we will discuss about the include and extend relationship. And if you remember my previous lecture, I told you about the include relationship and extend relationship. And for the quick review, I just want to give you an idea of include function. Include means we talk about the primary functionalities, we talk about the primary actors that are interacting with your application. And if we talk about the extend relationship, that means we are performing those functional requirements which are directly connected with your stakeholder, but that could be performed in alternative way. When we are stuck in somewhere, we do not have any option to move anywhere, so we need to provide, or we need to interact in a way that that can activate our position, or that can the solution of single problem. So here you can see we have a customer and we have bank. And in our previous lecture, I told you about if we discover a use case, if we discover a stakeholder, that means that stakeholder or use case can generate another use case. Or if we are generating use cases, that means there must be another actor who involve or who interact with that particular use case. As you can see here, if we want to withdraw the cash, right? So withdraw cash means this is a functional requirement that an actor, that a customer perform, right? But on the other hand, bank allow the customer to withdraw that cash, because without verification, without validation, without entering the card, or without confirmation from the bank, you are not able to withdraw the cash from the ATM machine. That means on the other hand, we have another actor, that is a bank, and bank is interacting with that withdrawal cash functionality. What include in this particular functionality? Include relationship, right? So we are here, we are identifying the customer identification that he enters in the form of pin ID, right? Because when we enter the card into the ATM machine, then ATM machine asks us to enter a pin ID, pin verification, right? So here this functional requirement includes in withdrawal cash. And there is another functional requirement that customer can perform, that customer can avail, that is a make deposit. If he wants to deposit a cash with the help of ATM machine, that means ATM machine has functionality to allow a user to deposit cash via or with the help of ATM machine. That means this is another functional requirement, and this functional requirement include the same functional requirement, or you can say the use case, that is called identification of customer. Because whenever you try to withdraw, or whenever you try to deposit your cash, your account number, your PIN ID should be verified. If it's not verified, or if it's not validated, that means you are a bogus user, you are trying to cheat with the system. So system won't allow you to do these kind of malicious activities, or the harmful activities that could be dangerous, that could be harmful for the system. Now the bank can allow you to take print, right? If you are taking print of your statements, that means there should be another functional requirements that would be considered in include relationship, and that is again your identification customer. Because whether you are using online application, whether you are using the bank application, if you want to print your bank summary, if you want to print your account summary, then you must have to verify your account. You must have to confirm your account by enter the OTAG, one-time authentication code, or by entering the correct password or the username that use in your application. So if you want to withdraw, if you want to deposit, if you want to take print of your statements, all these situations where you need to enter your correct account number, you need to enter the correct information that you already provided to the bank system. So this was the example that we can consider to understand the use case diagram, and here we have used the include and only we have used include relationship with what type of functional requirements should be included or can be interact with the other functional requirements that can be availed by the stakeholder. So here we have another example of a university registration system. So when we talk about registration, that means there must be some stakeholders or the users that are performing these activities. First of all, the applicant, that could be a student, right? He or she is register the courses or for the university enrollment, and there must be another actor who allow that applicant to register in the university or to register in a specific course, that is registrar, right? And obviously if we are talking about the applicant, if we are talking about the students, then there must be another type of students who can perform or who can do this activity, and that could be international applicant, international students. We have local students, we have international students. So there are two types of students. Both these students can perform the same activity, same task, and that is basically the enrollment in university, right? So enrollment is basically the main functional requirements that can be performed by international and local students, but there is another actor who is interacting with this particular feature or the functionality, that is registrar. What should be included in this type of functional requirement, that is enroll a course? Because obviously if a student is going to enroll in the university, what type of purpose, what is the objective behind this? Obviously he wants to study, he wants to study a specific discipline, and obviously in a discipline you have courses and you want to enroll the courses. So to enroll the courses is a functional requirement. Who allow this and who is trying to opt these courses? Students are trying to opt these courses, students are trying to register these courses, and registrar allow them to enroll in these courses. So there is another the relationship that is named extend. Extend means if we have an international students, if we have RCMP security systems, these are basically the stakeholders that are considered as an exceptional or an alternative way, and we already discussed if we have stakeholder or have a functionality that that exists in a secondary functionality, that could be used as an extend functionality. So perform security checks, This is the functionality that could be occur in extend relationship, because if we are dealing with international students, if we are dealing with security systems, that means we are providing a layer, we are providing a security layer to our students, because students are paying online, students are, you know, they are offered courses, and against each course they are paying the fee, and when they perform transaction online, that there must be a secured way to accept, or to proceed their transactions, and we have to implement the security layer over here. And security check is basically a functionality that can be exist as an extend function, as extend relationship. So this is about the university registration system. Now obviously we have some naming conventions for this type of use cases. So we have name, that is enroll in university, because we want to enroll in university, and we have an identifier, and obviously we need to specify the use case, the title of use case, like we are talking about use case 1, use case 5, use case 19, or use case 20. So the goal or the objective was to enroll applicant in the university. This was the goal. This was the action that we want to perform via using this particular situation or this use case. And obviously we have preconditions. What type of preconditions are? Because registrar is logged into the system. If we do not have registrar in the university, then nobody could allow a student to register in particular course or in a particular program. The applicant has already undergone initial checks to verify that they are eligible to enroll. Obviously, if you want to enroll a course, and if you want to enroll in a specific discipline, for example, if you want to do engineering, then you must clear your ECAT, you must clear your FSC pre-engineering. If you want to take admission in DPT, then you must have to clear FSC pre-medical, right? And you must have clear a medical admission test. So these are the preconditions to take admission in university for a relevant or a particular discipline. So the post conditions are: the applicant will be enrolled in the university as a student if they are eligible. And if we are satisfying, if we are already checking the preconditions of the system, that means our student allowed to take admission in a particular discipline or in a particular subject. So the main flow would be like this: the applicant wants to enroll in the university. Second step would be applicant handle a filled out copy of form like user interface 13 university application form to the registrar. So this is the flow how a student can enroll the course or the discipline. Obviously he or she has to fill some forms, or he has to satisfy some formalities. So registrar visually inspects the forms. Registrar determines that the forms have been filled out properly. Registrar selects to create new students. System displays the create student screen. Registrar inputs the name, address, and phone number of the applicant. So these are basically the steps, or you can say the flow of your events, or the functional requirements that you are going to perform by using this system. So the extension point would be: system would determine that the applicant does not already exist within the system. Obviously we have exceptions, we have alternative ways. In this situation, there might be chances a student has already registered online or physically, so there might be chances. So system should check whether a user is already available or not. So there is an extension. The system determines that the applicant is on the eligible applicant list or not. So obviously this is again additional check where we are process the student, and we are checking whether the student is eligible or not. And the system adds the applicant to its record. So obviously when a student is going to enter the data or submitting the form, then there must be a role, there must be another actor who is responsible to store or to keep a student record safe, right? So we are going to save, or we are going to we are going to back up the data of the student. So registrar enroll the students in course via use case, and the use case has the label, that is like 17, that could be 15, any title that we have already assigned. And alternative flow would be the forms have not been adequately filled. And obviously if we are not filling forms properly, that means there is an error, there is a mistake, then we should allow a student to edit or update or resubmit the form to the university management. So this is an alternative way of a use case. Now we want to perform security, we want to check the security the layer. So this is another use case, or you can say, if we talk about the extension of this check, how we can make sure. So the registrar asks for security check results about applicant. The system asks RCMP security system for applicant security check results. The RCMP security system responds that applicant has been cleared. The security system responds that applicant has not been cleared. So these are all security layers that we are going to implement in our system. If a student is going to apply online or on campus, that means we should make sure that a student has cleared the test, a student has submit a correct form, a student has fulfilled all the preconditions to take admission in respective department. So these are all security checks that we are going to implement for our system. So obviously if we talk about the registration system, so the enroll family member of staff, there are we have employees, we have other staff members who are going to enroll or who are going to register in our system. Then the main flow would be an applicant family member wants to enroll in the university. The applicant hands a fill out copy of form like use case 15 university, applicant form for family member to the registrar. So these are all steps, or you can say the flow of a member or an actor who is part of the university. That could be a staff member, that could be a registrar, that could be an accountant, that could be an HR manager or a student relationship officer. So this is the flow for these type of actors or the users. Now we have to be careful about the behavior of the user. This is the rule of thumb that we have to follow, that we have to consider while we are making use cases. And the rule of thumb is basically we should focus on externally visible behavior. Like, are you specifying a sequence of events in which the sequence does not really matter? For example, order of entering data for new customer. Do you specify which elements from a set are selected when any arbitrary element is needed? For example, selecting new arbitrary phone number. So we need to fetch all type of data, or we try to gather all the necessary requirements from the stakeholder to make sure our process should be error free. We should provide an application which throw all type of exceptions if a user interact in a wrong way. So these are basically rules, and we can follow or we can implement all these rules by adopting the good requirement principles, and those were the unambiguous data, the requirement should be complete, the requirement should be concise, requirement should be the correct, based on correct facts and figures. So we can implement or we can develop our software application by following all these rules, and we can satisfy our customer by providing the interaction, by explaining them with the help of use case diagrams. So students, we explore different examples in today's lecture. We have covered the ATM machine, we have explored the registration process in universities, so you can map this problem to any type of college, to any type of school where we have students, where we have interaction with registrar, where we have interaction with librarian, we have interaction with student affair officers. Or if we talk about the ATM machine, you can map this problem to any kind of bank, like if whether we want to implement this application in Alpha Bank or UBL Bank or MCB Bank, we interact in a same way with these type of banks, because in ATM machines obviously we want to withdraw the cash, we want to deposit the cash, we want to select multiple cash options, or we verify our information by inserting the card. And obviously machines allow us to insert the card, machine allow us to dispatch or withdraw the cash, and machine allow us to deposit the cash by checking our card, by verifying our PIN ID, and it can throw some exceptions if we are not inputting in a right direction, right? So this is all about today's lecture. If you have any question, you can ask to me. Thank you so much.